It's probably in your office. Okay. I've got my moose pants on today.
Love them.
Eliza gave us all moose pants one Christmas.
Oh, wow.
I figured a little humor was needed.
Every opportunity, yes.
Right. So here we go. Let's just sit quietly with our eyes closed for a few minutes. If you have something to sit on, I recommend it, even if it's a block, just to help you get your hips up higher.
Yep.
And Valerie, one of the benefits of doing that is that it helps your knees come down. Do you have blocks, Valerie?
No, but let me go get a pillow or something.
Yeah, good
Or
cushion.
cushion.
It's not in your office. Check the closet. Check the closet by the door, Byron. Byron's looking for his pad.
All my equipment is at the Adirondack house, so I'm
That's the trouble with
improvising.
moving house for us. I've been starting to order 2 of everything. Anytime I order something, it's 2. No, that looks good. So let's just close our eyes. Our palms are on our knees. Our hands are relaxed. And think about this as being your yoga. Let your shoulders go over your hips so that your spine is straight. Lift your rib cage up out of your hips. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your jaw is relaxed. Let your face relax. Let your knees fall open. Try to release all the tension in your body.
Okay. Right, but so I just don't, but it just doesn't make it.
Let's inhale. Take a nice inhale any way you want. Please through your nose and then release it through your nose. We'll only breathe out of our mouths when we do a big ah. We'll do some of those, but for now, let's keep our lips closed, softly closed, inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. With the next few inhales, expand your abdomen. Let the air fill your lungs. And your goal is to stretch your diaphragm. And the easiest way to keep that going is to expand your abdomen. And if you can inhale to the count of 5 and exhale to the count of 9, it's a nice pacing. So again, at your own pace, let's do 4 of those. As you exhale, use your abdomen to squeeze the air out of your lungs. Now let's try some alternate nostril breathing. Let's take our right hand and we'll use whatever combination of fingers feels most comfortable for you today. We'll close off our right nostril and exhale through the left. Close off the left. Pause. Inhale through the right. Pause. Close the right and exhale through the left. Pause. Inhale through the left. Pause and close. Exhaling through the right, and continue at your own pace for 5 rounds.
Okay. So Joe, can you, Joe, just, you need an email for her already, right? Okay, cool. Can you remove my, my head permission from the deal contract? I'm serious, it makes less than no sense. You're saying, oh, I'm letting you, you can add on. Here. Yes. So the end result is, what about this needs council review thing? You want that too? Okay, why don't you,
As you finish, let's bring our hands down and let's take our arms up around, take a nice big inhale and give us a nice ah. Ah.
I'm having an issue.
Ah. Now let's take our left hand over our right knee and just turn around and look over our right shoulder, twisting.
Back in the 90s.
Turn back to center, release your shoulders. Another big breath in. Ah. And reverse.
So he said, yeah, she was born around 1900. Early 90s, or late 80s, whatever, yeah, so.
Come back to center and put your hands down on the floor in front of your knees and just scoop up as though you were doing a cat-cow. Inhale, looking up,
That is,
and then exhale, rolling back and looking at your belly button.
was there like a guy in the band or somebody?
Try to curl your low spine.
I had.
And inhale, looking up. And one more time, exhaling, curling, 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 curling back. And come back to center. Let's lie down and we'll do our leg stretches. And then we'll see what happens next. So we may need to do some camera adjustments. It's not so important that I see you, it's that you see what I'm doing, especially for Valerie. If you're not familiar, I'll try to talk you through it. I want to do minimal speaking today. Let's put up our shoulders a little bit, just to try to focus on. So one of the points of getting away from the exterior is to control our minds. So try, when your mind wanders, to bring it back to your breath and the feeling of stretching, the feeling of relaxing your body parts that you're not operating at that moment, and focusing on using your breath to help relax any stiff or tight areas. Does that make sense? All right, here we go. Down slowly, using your abs to get down there, and relax down. And just lay for a moment with your feet open, your palms up, and let your back settle into the floor. Nice inhale. Now let's bring our right knee up to our shoulder, squeezing, flexing both feet, stretching your left leg long with a flexed foot, Your right knee is squeezing up to your shoulder. Your shoulders are relaxed to the floor. Big breath in, expanding your belly into your thigh. Now let's slide the right knee gently back and forth towards the center of your chest, towards your right elbow, just gently loosening up the hip joint. Squeeze into your shoulder and then extend your leg to wherever it can be straight. Don't lock your knee, but straighten your leg out.
You also.
And let's rotate our ankle, our right foot around our ankle, 3 or 4 times in each direction.
We could have a second box or the
And then
box
flex
toys.
and point,
Here's what I think.
flex, stretching through the heel, point your toe, flex, point. And if you'd like to raise your hands up towards your ankle to add to the stretch, straightening your leg up.
Okay, so let's.
Feeling the nice stretch through the hamstrings, keeping the foot flexed. And then bring your knee back down to your chest for another squeeze. And then set your right foot on the floor outside your left knee. And relax your hips squarely into the floor. Your arms are extended out to the side in a T. Lay your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Let the knee fall open. If you're feeling tightness, you can use your right hand to press your knee open a little further. And then let's raise our left foot flat to the floor and push our right knee open again. And if you'd like to reach through and grab your left knee with your hands, you can do what we call a supine pigeon. If you're not feeling a stretch in your right hip, you can just hold your right leg in a bent position and pull your right foot towards your left shoulder a bit. You can cradle your leg in your hands. You can slide your leg back and forth. Anything that gives you a stretch. We'll do another stretch like this after we do our table and cat cows, but this is a nice warm up for that. Now let's bring both knees to our chest and curl your head up, squeezing into a cannonball, pardon the phrase. Stretch your right leg long, flexing that foot. Keep your left knee up towards your left shoulder, flexing your left foot. And take a nice abdominal breath in, massaging your gut with your thigh. And then slide your left knee from side to side, center of your chest, out to the elbow. Keeping your feet flexed, extend your left foot towards the ceiling, keeping your knee unlocked. And circle your foot around the ankle 3 or 4 times in each direction. Remember to loosen your jaw. Loosen your shoulders. Now let's point and flex the left foot. The right foot is still flexed. And if you'd like to raise your hands up your leg towards your ankle to increase the stretch in your hamstring, keeping that foot fully flexed, flexing as much as you can through that left ankle or through the left heel. Bend the knee and squeeze one more time, your left knee towards your left shoulder. And then set the left foot on the floor outside your right knee. Your arms are extended out. Let your hips relax. And then lay your left ankle across your right thigh, knee falling open. Using your hand to press it further if that's helpful to you. Raise your left foot to the flat on the floor. Reach behind if that's comfortable and pull your ankle and pulling your right knee towards your chest, stretching through the left hip in whatever manner feels appropriate for you today.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what I was getting at. It seems to me that the dates on the first day
Let's put our feet flat on the floor, having our feet a little more than hip width apart, and windshield wiper from side to side, just taking your knees to the left, to the right. Slowly feeling the stretch creeping up along the side of your body, across the quadriceps. And the next time your knees are to the left, from there, your arms should be out at a T, your scapula firmly behind your back on the floor. Let your knees just relax to the left and lift your left foot off the floor and place it on top of your right knee, which should give you a nice stretch through the right quadriceps. Turn your head over to the right, looking at your right hand. Release your foot. Windshield wiper to the right, to the left, to the right, and let your knees fall to the right. Look to the left and raise your right foot and put it up on your left knee. You might find this side less tense, more relaxed, or it might be the opposite. It might be the tighter of the two sides. And let's release and windshield wiper to the left, to the right, to the center, and bring your knees up and hug your knees one more time, lifting your head. And then let's stretch long, 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 stretching your arms as long as you can on the floor, stretching and reaching through the heels of your feet. Let's think about touching our feet together through the screen. And a big ah. And let's turn over. And we'll do that gentle, gentle whatever it is, lifting up. I can't think of the name right now. Cobra. Thank you, Byron. I don't think I could run a yoga class without Byron. So just lay on your abs, your stomach, and really work to tuck your pelvic bone to the floor, which helps support your back. You want to keep your glutes soft. There's no reason to tighten the glutes. You want to use the muscles along your spine. So just rest your head. Your hands are near your shoulders. Your head is turned to one side. And then raise your head and look forward across the floor. And then turn the head to the other side and rest it. Raise up. Now let's do 4 of these on each side. Do it at your own pace, raising up to your own height level of comfort. Try to keep your glutes soft. It's the spine muscles you want to use. And if you prefer to do a full cobra, that's fine. Just keep your pubic bone flush on the floor.
Right. Yeah. Two left brackets totally.
When you're finished, go back into child's pose. I prefer right now to do it with the knees fairly close together and the arms back behind you. Start with your rear end on your heels if you can, and then fall forward with your head approaching the floor, or a block if your head doesn't reach the floor, or your cushion. Breathing into your low back, stretch the muscles. You could take your hands and rub your low back if that feels good, if you're chilly or just feel like you need to warm that up a little more. Pardon me.
Okay. So. Oh, I think. Yeah, no,
And then let's take our knees apart to mat width or wider, and settle back down with your rump towards your heels, and stretch your arms forward so that you're feeling a good stretch in the groin. So Valerie, take your knees almost to the width of the mat or even a little wider.
Okay.
Yes, good. Now sit back on your heels. Good, and keep your arms forward like that, and try to come down to the floor in the front. You'll find a good stretch in the groin. Let's sit up for a moment, and whatever position is comfortable. We're going to go into table in a minute, but I'd like to do some wrist and hand work to relax our wrists and warm them up for doing some table time. So squeeze and open, squeeze. Let's rotate, stretching our fingers, our wrists. The other way. Remember to do things like this one hand at a time when you're driving, 18 hours. Or even 5 hours. How long of a drive do you have, Valerie?
2 hours, 45 minutes.
That's enough time to need to relax your wrists a bit. Now I'm squeezing my fingers together here, index, second finger, third finger, little finger, squeezing. This is a great help if you have any signs of arthritis. A squeeze ball is another good thing, but who has a squeeze ball in their purse these days? We're all wearing so many pockets in our layers of clothing that you can't find anything, so you can't carry it with you. So this is a great substitute for that. Something else you can do in the car. Shake our hands out. Let's rotate our elbows. Change direction. Do our shoulders. To bring your elbows together. Up, back, open your scapula, arch your back, stretch your neck up and around. Elbows together, stretch up, back, and around. One more time in the front. Change directions, back, squeezing back, 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 back. Open your pectoral muscles. Up, around together, touching. Oh, it feels so good. This is hard to do in the car. Unless you're at a stop sign. Weavertown Light. Okay, let's go into table. Stretch your hands out on the floor, stretching your fingers as far as you can. At any time, if your wrists get tired, you can always do your thumbs like this. I don't know if you can see this, Valerie, but you grip your fist with your thumb down and you keep your thumbs facing forward so that the crease in your elbow is facing forward. If your hands are open on the floor, try to press through the knuckles. That also takes pressure off your wrists. So your knees are under your hips. Look back and move your feet out of sight. If you see your feet, line them up with your knees. Your wrists are under your shoulders. And you're going to inhale, looking up, dipping your back. I'm going to come to the side like this. Dip down, inhale, exhale, rounding up. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, so continue at your own pace for 3 more rounds. Now let's come to neutral and take our right leg back, extend the right leg back and lift it and put it outside your left foot and look over your left shoulder at your left foot. Feeling a stretch along your left side. Bring that foot back, rest it on your knee. Extend your left foot back. Lift and place it over your right. Look over your right shoulder at that foot. Raise it, put it back. And let's just sit back for a moment into child's pose and rest our hands and arms. Let's come back up. And we're going to do our balancing position. So you're back into your table. Check to make sure your feet are behind your legs. We're going to take the right leg back and raise it hip level and reach through your heel and reach back with your hand and make sure your hips are parallel. You don't want to lift this hip up. You want your hips to be level. Extend your left arm forward. Engage your abs. Pick a spot on the floor ahead of you to stare at, which will help you balance. And we're going to try to hold this to the count of 10. If you can go longer, great. If you need to come down, bring your hands down, or hand down. Okay, hands down. Let's sit back and relax our wrists for a second, and we'll do the other side. Back into table. Extend your left leg out. Check to make sure your hips are parallel. Engage your abs. Raise your right arm forward and stare at a spot on the floor. Very good, everybody. Knee down. If you need a wrist rest, take it. I want to see your cat do a downward dog, Valerie.
Next time I will lock her up. She's not being helpful.
She wants your attention.
Definitely. She always interrupts Zoom meetings.
So coming, I'm going to put my jacket back on. I'm having a little chill, I guess. So we're on our hands and knees. We're going to do the side stretch that we did last week. So what I'd like you to do is turn your left foot out just a bit into a kickstand. Can you see my foot out here to the side? And you're going to take your right foot long and turn your foot to 90 degrees so it's parallel to the long end of the mat. If you need to put a pad under your knee, this is the time to do that. And we're going to turn on our hand to the side, stacking our shoulders, the right shoulder on top of the left. And if you're able, raise your right hand up to the ceiling and rotate so that you've got a little bit of a twist. And lengthen, extend your spine up. Your neck is in line with your back. If you would like to raise your, or lower, whatever, your arm, stretching your arm over your head and look out towards that, gives you a nice long body stretch. Come down when you have to, stay as long as you'd like. Feeling that nice long stretch across the top of your hip. Very nice, everybody. Come down. And let's do the other side. So kickstand your right foot out to the side. Take your left foot, turn the foot so it's parallel to the short end of your mat. Stack your shoulders, your left shoulder on top of your right. Look up towards the ceiling, raise your left arm up. Your shoulders are stacked one above the other. Straighten your spine up so that your shoulders are in line with your hips. And if you'd like to stretch your arm over towards the far wall, we might be able to touch fingers across the vaporware. Very nice, everybody. Hands down, back into child's pose. Let's sit back on the floor. And what I'd like to do is bend your left knee and cross your right foot over your left knee so that we can do a twist. How are you doing, Byron?
Okay,
I can't see you.
I can hear you.
You can hear?
Yeah.
Take your left arm out and wrap it around your right knee and take your right arm behind you. Lift your shoulders and spine up nice and straight and turn and look over your right shoulder. It's okay to have your heel, your left heel tucked under your right hip, or if you don't need that and both your hips will sit on the floor, whichever works for you today. You should be feeling a nice stretch through the right hip. Keeping your spine erect, your head erect. You're proud, you're sitting proud. Breathe in and out, and as you relax into that breath, you might find you can twist a little further. Stretch your eyeballs round to the right. Let's turn our heads to the center and switch arms. Right arm over, left arm behind you and turn to the other side. Your shoulders are up. Shoulders are erect, I should say, but down, if you know what I mean. Your shoulders are relaxed, but they're erect. Stretch your eyeballs around to the left. Come forward. Let's extend our legs out for a moment. Stretching through the heels, arms up but shoulders down, lifting up through your rib cage. And come forward a little bit. Come forward a little more. Forward a little more. Reach forward a little more and let your hands fall where they may, on your toes, your ankles, your shins. You want to keep that stretching motion feeling in your low back. Let your spine roll over and just go, ah. Let's stretch our arms forward, reaching beyond your feet, and reverse, coming up slowly, stretching forward, up, stretching forward, stretch up through your rib cage. Your shoulders are down. Your lift is between your rib cage and your hips. Arms back, open. Now let's bend our right knee and put our left foot over. I hope this is the reverse. Your right arm, I'm mirroring you. So when I say left, I'm actually doing it. So wrap your right arm around your left knee and turn over, looking over your left shoulder, stretching your eyeballs. You're sitting erect. You should be feeling this stretch down into your hip, along the side of your hip. Turn your head forward, release your arm, wrap your opposite arm around the knee. Your right hand is behind your back and you're looking over your right shoulder, stretching your eyes far to the right. Turn your head back. This time, let's take our feet together. Hold your feet and stretch your knees open as much as you can. You can use your elbows to help push your knees open. Try to keep your spine straight. And rock from side to side if that's helpful. We don't stretch in this way very often, do we? Except when we're trying to get up off of when we've fallen on our skis. Okay, stretch our legs long. Stretching up through your spine, up between the rib cage and the hips. And come forward again, reaching forward, flat back, forward again. And if you can grab your toes or your shins and stretch forward through your low spine, your shoulders are down. And then just round your back forward and let your chest hang over your thighs for a moment. Breathing deep into the stretch. Slowly roll up. What I'd like to do now is a little bit of hip flexors stretch. So let's come up, having our right foot forward. And you want to have your right foot towards the front of the mat. Your right knee is directly over the foot. I'm going to lower my screen a little bit. And then take your left knee back behind you as much as you comfortably can. So I'm going to turn to the side for a moment. So if this is where you need to start today, that's fine. But the more you can bring your leg back, the better the stretch will be along the hip flexor. Your hands can be down on the floor or on blocks. And if you'd like to raise your knee up off the floor for a moment and feel that stretch, it's a good one. It's slightly different than the knee down, but both are very effective. You can bring your hands to your knee, your chest erect, if that increases the stretch for you. And just sink into the moment, breathing deeply. Bring our hands back to the floor and sliding your hips back, raise your right foot up, stretching long through the heel and long through the back of your hamstrings. Slide your hips forward. The right foot goes flat to the floor. Bring your blocks forward with you if you're using them and stretch your left hip flexor long again. The knee is way back. Slide your hips back, stretching long through the right heel, raising your right toes. There's a tendency to lean over to the left side. Try to keep your hips in line. If you have the opportunity to do this in front of a reflective glass window or door, you can check your alignment that way someday and get the feel for trying to go back, going straight back and straight forward. Let's go forward and lift up. These muscles get so stiff without being used in a few days. And come back, put both knees on the floor, stretch up for a second, roll your shoulders, a couple times in each direction. And let's take our left foot forward. Hands can be either on your knee. Your options are to raise that knee up off the floor, the rear knee, that would be your right knee. And put your hands up like this or leave them down. The knee comes down, both stretches are effective. Breathe into the motion. Slide your hips back, raising your left heel, your left toes off the floor, keeping your heel flexed. Try to keep your hips straight back behind your legs. Stretch long through the calf and hamstring of your left leg. Slide your hips forward, the left foot comes down, stretching the right hip flexor. Slide your hips back, flexing the left foot, the left toes up. Slide forward again, one last time. Have your shoulders up and erect if you can. Really increases the stretch. It looks nice, Sherry. Good job, Joanne. I can't see your legs, Valerie, but you look like you're doing it right. Oh, this feels so good. Hands to the floor, one last lengthening of that right leg behind you. And let's bring both feet together, standing up into a forward fold. I'm going to raise my screen up a bit. So let's bring our hands down to our shins, right below our knees, and really stretch your spine long and think about flattening your back. You know, that area where you've got the dowager's hump or the start of something of that nature. Try to think of flattening that out. Stretching your head forward towards your screen. And then let your hands come down to the floor. If you don't reach the floor, use a block or a cushion. And let your spine relax. And we're going to hang here for 20, the count of 20. And as you're breathing through this stretch, you'll find that your back will release and your hands will come closer to the floor. Keep your knees soft. Raise your hands back to your shins below your knee, stretching your head forward, flat back. Tuck your hips, bend your knees, and roll slowly up into a standing position. Stretch up on your toes, down, and bend your knees, stretching your Achilles tendon slightly. Up on your toes. Feet down, stretch your knees, keeping your top of your body. We're not doing chair. We're just stretching our Achilles tendon gently. Knees bent forward. Have your feet in the number 11, parallel to each other. Up on your toes. Down, bend your knees slowly, stretching your tendons. And do one foot at a time, really stretching through your toes. Up, let's see, I need to go back. Up. Stretching through your toes. Keeping your feet on the floor, Valerie. Keep your toes on the floor. I like what you're doing, but let's stretch the toes. So just toes on the floor, stretching, lifting the opposite heel, Stretching. We don't get to stretch that part of our foot often. And then heels back down, bend your knees one more time, stretching through the tendons. And then Valerie, you gave me a good idea. Let's stretch our right knee up, balancing on our left foot. Just bring that knee to your chest. Switch legs. Stretching up. One more time on each side. Now let's bring our feet into the number 11. Our feet are parallel. We're going to rotate our upper thighs in towards one another. Our knees are straight but not locked. Our pelvis is tilted. Our abs are engaged. Our shoulders are up, back, and down and relaxed. Our hands are free. And we're just going to stand in mountain pose for a moment. Your feet are well squared on the floor. And close your eyes. A nice deep inhale and exhale through your nose. Deep abdominal breathing using your diaphragm. Let's bring our hands together in front of our chest and sink back into chair. So you're bending your knees and you're letting your tailbone down and you're using those thighs to support you. Standing up gently. Bring your feet and knees together. Your hands are still in prayer position. We're going to go back into chair. And we're going to take our left elbow and swing it over our right, outside of our right knee. Check that your knees are still in alignment with one another. And look up towards over your right shoulder, pressing your hands together. And then switch your opposite elbow to the opposite knee and look over your other shoulder up at the ceiling. Bring your hands to the floor in a forward fold. If you're able to straighten your legs most of the way, that's good. If you can take your palms, turn them up and put your hands under your feet. Hands to the shins with a flat back. Curl your back and round up. Let's come down to the floor and finish our practice. We've been together for an hour now. It's flown by. Now, if you have a block or a pad, what I'd like to do for Savasana is put something under our back and raise our legs so that we're doing a sort of inversion, which will help pep you up for the day. If you don't have a block, Sherry, you could turn around and put your knees up on your sofa. Valerie, you have a chair nearby. You can put your knees up on that, or you can go to the wall and put your knees up on the wall. So I'm going to lay back down and I'll show you what the goal is. If your knees are resting on a sofa, that's fine. It's just to get the blood flowing the other way. So I'm taking the block, I'm going to straighten out my mat here. Taking the block, putting it under my hips, and then raising my legs. Turning palms up, the scapula are flat on the floor. But if your knees are bent, I can't really show you, but if your knees are at 90 degrees
on the edge of a sofa, that's fine too. Or perhaps your pillow is strong enough to support, or you can just do it without anything under your back. It just depends on what you have available. Relax your jaw. Close your eyes. And try to keep your mind, well, we can't try to do much with our minds, can we really? When your mind wanders, as it will, try to bring it back to your breathing and focusing on relaxing the muscles in your body so the blood can flow. Your fingers are relaxed. Your face is smooth. No frowning allowed. If you feel inclined, you could raise your hands and grab a section of your earlobes and just pull your ears out, or your ear fobs. Stretching your ears out is very relaxing. It's good to be able to spend at least a minute in this position. When you're ready, or when you need to, bring one foot down at a time. Place it on the floor. And then stretch your body long and let the blood start to return to your legs before getting up. Let's turn over onto our right side for just a moment in preparation for sitting up. And then use your left hand to help push you up into a seated position. And Byron's going to crawl over and join us so he can do the Om for us. How about that?
Yay.
I'm going to move over and make room for my honey. You want to sit on here?
Good morning, everybody.
Okay.
Good morning.
Happy New Year, Byron.
I feel like a little kid sitting next to him. Let's bring our hands to our chest and our mind into a peaceful and restful mode. And should we do one round of Om or two? One round of Om. So a nice deep inhale and let her rip. That was beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you for taking the time to relax, stretch, be together, feel the vibes, and remember to keep your mind calm during these stressful times. You have control over that part of life. Namaste.
That little bit.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the recording and we can visit if we like.
I got to go back to work.
Thank you, Valerie, for taking the
Thanks.
time.
Yep, thank
It's
you.
wonderful to see you all.
Good to see you, Valerie. Yeah.
Nice to see you. Bye-bye.
Great to see you, Sherry.
It's good to see you. It's good to
Hi to
be seen.
John.
Yes, he's up there right now at the mountain house, so.
And Joanne, are you returning to Garnet Hill?
You know,